loving the stalker under my bed. Beneath my bed lies a presence, its nature initially uncertain. Yet, the creeping sensation of being observed intensifies steadily. Fear grips me. Is it a specter? A burglar? A murderer? The dread of an unexpected attack haunts my thoughts. Would this night mark my demise? Horror filled my mind as I contemplated whether to change place or not. Most importantly, the fact that it was just my senseless gut acting up left me confused. My sleep has always been deep, not a wink of waking up between my bedtime, yet this freaking game of nerve kept my senses alert all night. Getting scared out of nothing will only give me a foolish name, but that eerie sensation won't go away no matter what. To end everything, I set up a camera hidden from the eyes of anyone. Once and for all, I will end this foolishness and get over the fear that is becoming unbearable day by day. I slept that night with a little sense of peace. For some inexplicable reason, I harbored the notion that upon waking, I would chuckle at the absurdity of my apprehensions, finding my apartment devoid of any intruders. Slapping my cheeks, once or twice, wouldn't atone for the stupidity I fed my mind. With a big grin, I slept through the night, hoping for the best after I woke up. However, that grin vanished right after I checked the recordings. A person I am very familiar with came crawling out of my ceiling, invading my privacy without a hint of delicacy. Her movement confirmed her frequent visits. Each gentle footfall, every glance directed my way, and even the imprint left on my bed sent shivers coursing through my bones. The way she crawled out of the ceiling, like a monster in disguise, creeped me out until goosebumps started forming on my skin. The things she did inside my room almost sent me boiling in rage. She savored every second she had with me, eventually leading her to rest under my bed. Anger surged within me, erasing the scant respect I held for my neighbor. This lunatic needed to learn a lesson she wouldn't forget. Without delay, I crossed the distance to my door, thinking of nothing but putting that woman into her place. There was not a single smile on my face as I turned the knob, my lips and mouth ready to throw hateful words her way. A deep breath came out of me as I controlled my anger, doing my best not to shout and run amok, scaring the other tenants in this building. My body carried an expression full of hatred as I stepped one at a time toward that intruder's location. None of my usual politeness could be seen as I finally reached the apartment next to mine. Without a single hesitation, I lifted my right arm and knocked on that woman's door. A minute or so passed without a single answer to my call. My patience wore thin as anger simmered beneath my skin. Had she realized that I'd finally uncovered her nocturnal endeavors? This time, with greater force, I knocked once again and made sure that it would be heard all over the woman's apartment. It doesn't matter even if she denied it. I have a piece of solid evidence. Her entire existence was caught in that footage, and denying her crime is the last thing that she would be able to do.
What can I do for you?
A shiver courses through my bones as those words reach my ears. That voice, sweet and soothing, could only belong to one person. I spin around, locking eyes with her. This is the first time that I've seen her this close. We never had any intimate interaction, making this our very first encounter. I tried to search for any fear in her actions, yet none made it to my eyes. All I could see was a sweaty and pale woman, obviously someone suffering from pain. Pity surged within me, unable to say the words sitting on the tip of my tongue. Somehow, I had forgotten the agenda I had in mind as she crossed the distance between us. There is a gentle smile on her face, showing not a hint of the stupidity she is pulling behind my back. I wanted to scream in her face, but not a single voice came out of my mouth. We find ourselves standing in front of her apartment, speechless and dumbfounded at that. Shouting like a madman felt so wrong as more sweat formed on her forehead. My anger was wasted as I sighed and decided to go back for now. We can just do this for another day. I don't want to be seen as a man attacking a pale and sick woman. Harassing her and squeezing out the truth are two different things. With that in mind, I turned around and outright ignored her. I paid her no mind as I put more distance between us, thinking of the best next day to settle this shenanigan with her. Movement could be felt behind my back, yet I ignored it. There is no harm in letting her go unscathed right now. Catching her red-handed at night could also be a great way to deal with her. Suppressing my emotions, I swiftly settled on my next move. It would have been a flawless strategy if not for the sudden loud noise that shattered the moment. My body could only turn around and check the source of that sound, only to find out the helpless figure of my neighbor. She fell on the ground, face first. I actually don't want to deal with this woman. Unfortunately, it was impossible now as I checked her breathing and prayed for the best. I had never been a good Samaritan, but this woman made me feel that I needed to be one. Thankfully, it did not take long before she made a reaction, letting me know that she was truly alive. She probably lost consciousness when she dropped her keys after opening her door. Going to the hospital might have been the best decision, yet I once again broke the norm when I carried the woman inside her open apartment. I dropped her on the sofa, before lightly tapping her cheeks. A disgruntled voice came out of her mouth, making her look like a drunkard in a state of delusion. That confirmed that I have nothing to worry about. Leaving her alone, safe and sound, should have been my next itinerary if not for a picture that caught my attention. Sitting cozily on top of her cabinet is a familiar image that will never be forgotten in my mind. I picked up the frame and gently brushed the glass protecting the picture. A tear dropped as I looked back at the woman lying on the couch. There's no mistaking it, she is the same child smiling in this picture, the same child who once let me feel that I'm not alone in this world. Memories of the orphanage and the children within it flood my mind, stirring my heart more intensely than ever before. The time I spent with that special child, her obsession with me when we were young, and the sweet time we had as we grew up under the strict surveillance of adults. The kiss we shared before I was sent away from the orphanage is still lingering on my lips. We promised back then that we would reunite after she turned 18, but never went as we wanted since she was adopted right after I stepped out of that place. Keeping in touch turned impossible as we went our separate ways. Little by little, the anger within me was replaced with an indescribable emotion that made me run out of the woman's apartment, my childhood friend's place, while wearing the sweetest smile that a human could produce. Her creepy little act had been disregarded in my mind as I silently laughed, reminiscing about the days we had shared before. Damn it! She hadn't changed a bit. Still the same crazy human who couldn't help but be attached to me. However, not recognizing her after all this time let me taste a different feeling of bitterness. Our years of separation are not short, giving her appearance a chance to change more than I could imagine. Yet, it still vexed me that I was unable to recognize the child who was once a big part of my life. A sigh could only escape my lips as I silently cursed, unable to choose whether to laugh or cry at that fact. Well, changing what happened in the past is next to impossible, and I bet I could only wait for her every night. Perhaps, playing a little trick will add more happiness to our reunion, keeping her in the dark about my awareness of her, letting her stalk me more and more, until she finally realized that I was in love with the stalker under my bed.
Coming next, 7 Days of Love.
Like, share, and subscribe for more stories.